Good evening, everyone. This is the August 2nd meeting of the Board of Sewer Commissioners. I call the meeting to order and roll call.
Donna Bronk, present.
Malcolm White, present.
Peter Dunlop, present.
And Jim Gibberti present. And we have minutes from the July 19th meeting. Any additions, corrections, changes?
I have to make a comment. I wasn't here.
Not
So
neither of you were.
So you need to make a correction on the back.
No, it says absent right there up front.
Says on this, you're not here.
No, under adjournment? I don't think that happened.
No.
I just thought I'd point that out,
Well,
even though I'm
you may have,
abstaining.
you may have called for adjournment, but we
No, I
didn't hear it.
didn't.
No, it's a matter of fact, it was Sandy for sure.
Let's be
Sandy?
transparent here.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
If I change it,
Yeah.
can we approve it the way it is? If we write it in?
Yes?
Approve
Okay.
it subject to the change.
All right.
We need a change,
I make a motion, we accept this with that correction that Commissioner White did not move for adjournment, but Commissioner Slavin did. You and I are the only ones that can vote.
all in favor? Yes, so it's 2-0. There we go. And we have A&W maintenance. What manholes is he redoing?
I'm sorry, I'm on the same page today. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. The minutes are done, A&W. So what he's doing, the manhole that enters, I send you the video, that enters our Cohasset Road in Indian Mound Beach. That manhole and the next 5, what happens is that's where the force main dumps in from Bourne's pump station in Hideaway Village. I sent you a picture where it's just crumbling. And because it's totally crumbling, I have to rehab it. The question becomes, and this is going to be, and I talked to Derek about it, it's really out of my purview, is that what do we charge Bourne? By normal IMA rules, they pay 18%, we pay the rest. But this manhole that they dump into they're the only person that dumps in the manhole. We don't, and it's gone. And also that manhole's become a stick in the mud because a neighbor is overwhelmed with odors. And she's even went to the DEP, and I've got all these calls, so I called Bourne, talked to the director and said, for right now, I put a cover on that has special material to absorb the odor. And I said, we need to rehab the manhole because it's totally gone, and the next 5 that are gone. So I said to Derek, we need to talk about is what percent, because I personally believe Bourne should pay 100% of rehab for the first one, and then the second one 75, because the third one we start dumping into. So then we can start decreasing fairly, because it's the H2S. We got an H2S meter in that manhole that we're speaking of, and it's incredible H2S, and it's eating the system. So that's something that I'm not going to get involved in. I'll bring it to the board, I'll bring it to Derek, but I've got to rehab that manhole because they're dangerous. They're rotted out.
There's 7.
So 6, I thought it was 5, but it's the 7.
It says
There's
7.
one more. Okay, the 7th one we're doing in Hamilton Beach. It's got a hole this big in the side and water's pouring in.
Okay,
That's the
so
7th.
one's at Cohasset Narrows.
One is at Hamilton Beach, and 6 are at Indian Mound Beach.
And there's only one that you figure Bourne should pay for?
I believe Bourne should pay out 100% for one, and then the rest of us should talk, because the first one is, their force main empties in that manhole. We don't empty into it whatsoever. So that one's rehabable, so I believe that should be theirs. I'm sorry, I've got yours here. Sandy, I've got yours here. You know what I mean? And so my thoughts are, then we can negotiate the others. If we went 100%, the first, and then we can figure out, do we go by IMA for the rest? Or do we say, because the problem is the H2S emptying into that because of so that's something that you guys in the,
Well, could we just put that on their next bill?
yes, we could.
We could just
What I
add that
wanna do-
$5,600?
I would
So let me
suggest,
say this, Derek is in negotiation with our CPA, their CPA, and Tom. So what I suggest is that we bring it to Derek, we write a letter and say, this is the issue, let him address it, but we should make our feelings known that they should assume more responsibility than 18% for those manholes.
well, I think we should make a motion here that we feel that Bourne should pay 100% for the first manhole, 75% on the second,
My calculator here.
and normal from there on because we contribute as
To
well.
contribute, yes.
And put that in as a motion in the minutes, can give them to Derek and goes from there.
All right, I agree, Mr. Chairman,
that
that
would
makes
be the-
sense. We
That
get
would
it
be the
out there.
cleanest way to do it,
Why are you saying 75 on the second one?
because he did.
Because it goes from the first to the second, is they get the hottest hit. We only have one line coming in. The third, we have 2 or 3 lines coming in, because they all feed in off the side roads. So again, to be frank, I'd like to see them pay for the whole thing because it's their high H2S, but the argument would be is that you put some too in. But remember, they're coming from a wet well that we've been fighting with for years because they're supposed to add chemicals to oxidize the hydrogen sulfide, and it's costly, and they refuse to spend the money. So I think that they're the contributor to all of it, to be blunt. Even though we contribute, our H2S is reduced significantly compared to what they're hitting. We have average, I'm going to say the average is 200 parts per million of H2S coming from their wet well, which is incredible. So that's why I think Bourne should be obligated definitely for the first. The second, after that, I think probably the AMA is the best, most palatable, because it's, no matter what we do, there's going to be a conflict.
I have a question.
Go right ahead.
And it's just a, well, first of all, it appears that each one of these are gonna be $5,600 apiece, which it seems pretty heavy. But number two, A&W Maintenance is Danny Warren again? I mean,
Yeah, it's-
he's running, I mean, it just makes me kind of wonder why this guy is on almost every contract we come across.
It's the epoxy. Danny Warren has an epoxy that's industry-wide. He does a lot of work throughout the world, but his epoxy is it's non-toxic. It's certified by NSF, the only product certified NSF in the world at this time. The epoxy lasts 50 years, so it's a competitive about the product. It's not about Danny Warren. If somebody makes a product like Danny Warren, I would use it, or I would bid it out. But when I bid specs, and he meets the specs, and that's why it's Danny Warren.
It just seems very, very,
I think it's 18.
I don't know. Every single big contract that comes in here has his name on it.
He bids.
And, well, I know he bids,
like
but
everybody
but
else.
well, unfortunately, I don't get to see the other contracts. I only get to see,
We get to
one
see the
that's given.
contract, but when this went out, I think there was 4 companies, our engineers make the recommendations, we send it to the companies, and we take the best bid or the lowest bid under the bid. It's actually, this is quoted because under 50,000, so you put the quotes out. But the quote specifies that we need something that's going to last, and also, first of all, the last 50 years, guarantee it for 5, and then that's going to make NS certifications, and he does it, he meets them all.
I'm not saying that he doesn't, and I'm not disputing his work. I'm just saying I just don't, it just seems very, very, what's my word I'm looking for?
Suspicious?
Yes, it's very suspicious that he gets all the big contracts, and he's from our area. I mean, it's just the way I'm looking at it, I'm just telling you.
I'll give you one reason, mobilization. The companies that do epoxy are from the Midwest, from Texas, California, Maine, and so they have to mobilize. So the mobilization cost is tremendous. So it's hard to compete with mobilization. Because
Okay.
we don't have companies local that do this.
I just wanted to bring it
Didn't we
up.
have a motion on the floor?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
No,
Guy? Have we had any problem with A&W?
Not at all. Matter of fact, it was above and beyond. He does things that other companies wouldn't give us. We have no issues with A&W. And if we did, we wouldn't use them. We could exclude them from bidding. But what I try to do in all things is try to put the best product forward for the best bang for our buck. And this has been the best bang for our buck. On the big project he did in Swiss Beach, he ate $18,000. How many companies are going to do that? Matter of fact, they'll overcharge you $18,000. He's just an honest man, and he has a great product and does a good job. So he bids and he wins. He's been winning a tremendous amount of bids in Massachusetts lately. He's got all of Brookline, he does all of MWRA's work. He's just, because of his reputation, his product, and his integrity. And if there's somebody, and if you bring me somebody better or equal to,
I
I
don't-
promise you, we would definitely, because it's about the work
I
and product.
don't, I'm not saying, I'm just saying,
No, I get it.
it
I get
appears
it.
to be very suspicious. I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying it appears that every time I look at a major contract, it has Danny Warren president,
If-
whichever company it is.
If it's going to be epoxy, you'll see a lot of it, because he bids in this area and wins, because people got to mobilize from other parts of the country to get here. So he'll always win because of mobilization, and his product is second to none.
I just brought the point up, that's all.
I don't have a problem with that.
Sandy?
Can I ask, what is injection grout and why is it not included in the bid?
Injection grout is something exterior of the manhole. So if you got a huge leak, you got to stop the leak before you can line it, because it's epoxy lining and they paint it.
And
So
it's-
that's nothing, that's not a part of any
So it's
contract.
not a lot of money?
No, it's not.
Okay. Now, I noticed that the I&I mitigation is $1,000 per 5 gallons extra, not included in the bid?
What do you mean? Let me see. I&I per, that might be,
Did I read it wrong?
I don't know. Let me find it. It's in the actual contract?
Next to the last page, Exhibit A.
Yeah, that's in the event if there's other water coming into the structure, he's got to stop it before he can
But
epoxy.
it's at $1,000 for every 5 gallons?
Yeah, it's a product. It's very expensive, so yeah, it's very expensive.
So we
For the
haven't
grout?
got a minimum that could be included in the contract, and anything above it would pay, or is there any drop we pay for?
Any drop of grout we put in there, we pay for. And so grout is a last resort, and he can plug it with his product. But let's just say it's a major gusher, and the pressure cut, then we have to grout it, which we did it, matter of fact, he ate it. If you look at the contract in Louis Antic, I'm sorry, I keep on saying, in one Kinko, we had to grout around that whole pipe. It was crazy.
Okay. Now, under site conditions number 4, there's a lot of stuff included there. This is because it's excluded from the contract, it's a potential additional cost. Any idea what that cost would be?
Site conditions?
Yeah. Debris removal, heavy cleaning, shafting, lift, scaffolding, permitting, traffic control, all that is not included in the contract. Doesn't that cost us a lot of money?
That's a general thing, but we're not going to have scaffolding, we're not going to have permitting issues, there's no traffic control, and if there is, we'll do it. So the contracts are pretty vague in the sense that it's catch-all. If I had him do something at the pump station or maybe someplace else where he's going to have to potentially scaffold something
Well,
out.
this is a very typical site condition on all
On all
contracts.
contracts, pretty typical,
And
because
is
this is a
there-
manhole
is there-
rehab.
Can you tell me if we've come into additional cost for contracts for anything listed as these items being excluded? Have we paid for this in the past?
No, not at all. Not at all.
And these manholes are, 8 feet by 5 feet? Did I read that?
8 feet deep by 5 feet wide,
Right,
so they're
yeah.
8 feet deep.
So they are 8 by 5.
Oh, yes, that's what 8 feet
And I
deep.
apologize for being late. I had a Historical Society board meeting that I couldn't get out of. These 7 manholes, you said 6 were in Jefferson Shore?
No, 6 were in Indian Mound Beach.
Indian Mound.
On Cohasset Street, Indian Mound Beach.
And where is the 7th one?
It's on Allego Road in Hamilton Beach.
And when you talk about having Bourne pay for 100% of the first one and more for the second, where would be the first
Less
one?
than the-
Because
so-
if we're going to put a
so you-
motion, I can't very well say
So-
the first
So you
one.
go down Red Brick Road. take a right onto Cohasset. The first manhole you come to is the one that Bourne's Force Main, the Force Main goes from
Okay.
up Cohasset, down Red, all to their pump station,
So-
Hideaway Village.
Red,
Brook Road.
And
So go to
Cohasset.
Hideaway, you know what Hideaway Village is?
I'm trying, if we're gonna put a motion together that they're to pay for 100% of the first manhole, we've gotta be able to tell
So the
them.
Force Main from their pump station in Hideaway Village dumps into that manhole on Cohasset Road. It's their Force Main. And that's the only thing dumping to that manhole, their Force Main.
The force main from Hideaway goes into this Cohasset Road in Red Brook.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what we're gonna call number one.
Yes.
And you mentioned the number two?
The second one down, they're all on Cohasset Road, so the second one,
Wait a second.
No, go ahead.
Where's the second one?
so they're all, the six on Cohasset Road, so it's this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, they're in
So
succession.
the next one after
Correct.
number one.
Correct, is the second. The
Okay.
next, the third one's the
On
third.
Cohasset.
On Cohasset, yes, ma'am. And they go in line. And so one goes to the other, and so when we get to the third, we're dumping double sides to it. So
Okay.
that's when I said that we may change our ability.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay,
So we want the motion to read, this is not the motion, something like, Bourne should pay 100% for one manhole,
Plural.
75% for the second manhole, and then 18% for the following four.
Yes.
They shouldn't pay anything for Hamilton Beach.
No,
Closest.
no,
So that's what we want to get in the motion?
yes.
Okay.
it is 18% that they're paying, was that correct?
It's 18% by IMA.
Right, okay, that's what I thought.
And that's the cost of being $5,600 a manhole.
That is correct. Don't do that, that's contagious. Have us all doing it.
Well, so just for comparison, Guy, what would it cost to rip it out and put a new one in?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. It's gonna cost about between $4,000 and $6,000 for the structure itself, and then the digging of it and the crane. Gosh, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say it averages 15 grand maybe
Good
to
enough,
replace it.
good enough. And probably a day and a half with the big machine, and
Per unit.
probably 3, 4 guys, and traffic control.
Traffic, major traffic. Now
Extra
you-
truck.
'cause now it'll be a huge project.
But the 56 isn't accurate because that doesn't take in the detail, the police detail.
Yes, that's true. But the police, usually I do the police details, but Daniel, we haven't talked about the police details. Usually I take police details on most projects, but we can talk about that. We can get probably an adjustment or something.
Okay. Get back to our motion for expense of this project. See if you can run that through again, Peter.
Excuse me?
See if you can run that through again. And put it down here.
Do you want to make it formal?
Wait 1 second.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put up the cost for each one of them.
Times 75,
Bourne would pay 100% for one manhole.
Which is 5,600.
okay, 56,
Excuse me?
5,600.
what number did you give me?
Okay?
No, I don't want to say that because that doesn't include the detail.
So total cost, so it's not just this contract alone?
No,
Well,
so-
there could be traffic control.
So it's the cost of the project, not only just the A&W contract, but any other cost associated with the project?
incidentals.
So any other cost associated, that includes anything else, police detail or anything else that might be incurred. So, okay.
what did you ask me?
I was gonna ask you the 75% of 5,600, but we're not gonna go with that because
Okay.
we don't know the total cost of the project.
100% of the cost of the first manhole, 75% of the cost of the second manhole, and 18% of the cost of remaining
4.
4.
No,
Yes.
Yes?
I thought there was 7 involved.
Hamilton
but
Beach is
Hamilton
totally
Beach is
separate.
not
They
that.
shouldn't
That's
pay
separate.
anything
That's
for
us.
that.
That's nothing to do with them.
So, so by doing it that way, we have to know the cost of each one of the manholes.
We have to know the
Right.
total cost of the project.
No, that's not what you said.
The total cost of the projects on Cohasset is separate than the individual
Okay,
one
so-
on Hamilton.
So we should say the total cost, because you said 100% of number 1 and 75% of number 2 and 18%, so we should take the whole project, divide it by 7, and then...
Divided by 6.
And then allocate it out.
Exactly, but If there's
Divided
any-
by 7.
No, you said you don't include Hamilton.
Right, but still, if Hamilton's in the 39,000,
Okay, so
Hamilton
when we
is-
divide by 7,
so
Hamilton,
it's 56.
excuse me, stop,
doesn't
hold on.
include, that doesn't include the...
Hold it. Is Hamilton in this 39,000?
That is correct.
Okay, so that we would have to take that 39,000 divided by 7 for the manhole cost, correct?
Plus other expenses.
So when the project's done, I agree with you, when the project's done, it's all done, we get the total cost. We add up any ancillary costs that we have to, then we take, that's a total, divide it by 7, then allocate it out 6 and 1.
Sounds simple to me.
I personally don't like okaying a contract that I have no clue what it's gonna end up costing us. I have a real problem with that.
Every
Okay, I'm
contract has...
just telling you that.
No, I get it, but every contract has contingencies. Even when I hire engineers, I hire somebody to do a road layout, and it's always a contingent, well, this is extra, and that's the nature of the beast, and nothing's done without written approval. So if it goes above and beyond, the contractor has to comes to us, to this board, and in writing, they have to say, this is what extra I need, and it's approved or not approved. So it's not just arbitrarily open book. Every change order has to be approved. So, and it says it in the contract. So it's got to be approved. They can't do it without approval, written approval. So it's not open-ended.
Okay.
I don't think we need to include,
Excuse me?
I don't think we need to include in the motion Hamilton Beach.
I didn't.
No, I know you didn't, but I don't think we do. Does anybody object to
But
it?
I think we're wise to do it by percentage as opposed to dollars.
As long as we indicate that it would be, we share the cost of the 6 Cohasset manholes. 100%, 1/6 of that, 100% or 1/6 is covered for the first manhole, 75% of 1/6, that type of thing. Because we want to include the total cost, which does include any details or anything else that might occur, not just the 39,000 for the contract.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
The only, you can't say 1/6 because there are 7 manholes.
But, yeah, so,
No, if we just say of the Cohasset manholes, 1/6 of the Cohasset manholes. That excludes Hamilton.
No, that won't, that, how do you divide that into the 39,000 that we're dealing with?
Mr. Chairman, do you think we should ask him to price it as he does it per manhole? Then that would eliminate all the needs?
Well, if he can do-
Actual
if he
costs?
can do
It's all
that.
gonna be within the 39,000.
If you can do that, yeah, then we can take and designate how much.
If we just deal in percentages, we don't need to.
I
Because
realize
what I'm
that.
thinking, the first manhole is gonna take a lot more material than the second, because that, I sent you the picture,
Yeah.
you just touch it and it just crumbles. So he may have to get it down to, so that may be a little more material, and the other ones are gonna be standard, so, because that's a condition
Have
issue.
we done any manholes yet with this?
No, I've seen other manholes done in communities, like Middleborough's done a bunch,
Yeah.
Dartmouth has done a bunch.
No, I just wondered if you had...
We haven't done any.
I wondered if you had history, and I'm going back to what Sandy was asking about with the grouting, it's expensive. Any of these manholes are they in the water table, or?
The only one that we see potential
I'm
is,
looking for an order of magnitude based on observations.
the only one that would need grout is the one in Hamilton Beach, because that's leaking.
Okay.
That's the only one. These, and Cohasset doesn't have no grout. It's just because they're out of the water table and they're just deteriorated.
Right.
Concrete's gone.
So
The one in
that's-
Hamilton Beach is on the water table, and it's gonna grow, so the
That's
grout's gonna be on us.
That's good information. So our exposure is probably less than unknown.
Correct. Exposure's only Hamilton Beach.
That's
That one
fine.
manhole is an exposure.
And your contractor's
something-
willing to cost it out by manhole?
I'll ask him. I don't know, but I think, why not? He knows the material. I mean, he can definitely, because it's a thickness thing. It's standard $500 specific thickness. My concern is that first manhole, because it's so deteriorated, he may have to get it down to good concrete before he can, and that may be an added cost,
Yeah.
within the $3,900. So $39,000, so what I'm saying is that he may be able to give a specific cost for each manhole,
And
especially if
that
we
way,
explain
by
to him.
having that, we can prove it to Bourne that they're 100% of the first manhole, this is the true cost, 75% and 18 for their own.
I agree.
I would recommend that we postpone acting on this for
Good
this
question.
meeting and have you come back with, if Danny can give us the breakout, and because there's an error on one of the pages on the bid form.
On the bid form,
Yeah.
So how does this work with Bourne? We gotta let them know what we're doing, right?
I've already talked to the Bourne
So if they wanna
superintendent.
send somebody over to verify what we're doing.
I talked to the Bourne superintendent, so they can do as they choose, and that's up to,
Good enough. I mean, if I was them, I probably would.
Guy on-
The
I
fourth
take a
I
page,
sent them the picture and said, this is your manhole, you tell me what you want to do. I'm
but
sorry?
the fourth page from the back. Or it says,
Item B.
form for general bid. That's got the
Yeah,
price on it,
Yeah,
One
yeah.
of the, okay, that's not, so one,
the three. One
so I just gotta go back on this, so this is
So
one.
the contract was
two.
put out for 48,000 and it came in 39,200?
No, it comes at 39,200 is what it, the 48,000, I don't know where that number came from. For some reason, it's a misprint, but what's written in the number form is what the contract is. So that's what we're agreeing to, and that's all we're agreeing to. So if you want to cross out the 48, and we'll say that it's not 48, it's 39, however you want to handle it, but the contract's $39,200. That's his bid. That's all he's getting.
Where do you see the 48,000?
Okay, the
Okay.
question I have right
The
now,
written number.
if you're gonna contact
yeah.
Danny to
Typo.
Oh, yeah, okay,
give us individual,
yeah.
If he can,
if he can,
if he can break it down.
then
Peter saw it.
I would suggest we postpone that, get that back, and then we can make the motion.
Who's on first?
Well, actually, back up.
Mr. Chairman,
As I'm
whatever
saying,
you, however you want to handle it, but
when is this gonna start?
he already did the investigation, looked at it, so we can start, he's ready to go. And
Well,
Has he looked at all seven?
he's looked, yes, Fran did, yes,
Franny?
Franny.
okay, I would suggest we probably approve this contract and have you come back to us with the breakout
Per manhole.
so that we can
Handle a
do the
motion.
motion
Yeah.
for Bourne.
However you want to
One
handle
that's kind of independent of the other, if you will.
it. Whatever you think is
So
best.
the idea is to approve the contract as presented with the request that each manhole be billed separately?
Okay.
Itemized, yeah.
Yeah,
And I would actually ask, for me, comfort in that motion that the cost of the contract is $39,200, just so it's there, because we're going to cross out the 48.
Okay.
We're approving $39,200, we're not going to approve the 48. That
Would you
misprint.
like, I make a motion
Please.
that the sewer commissioners approve the A&W maintenance for manhole rehabilitation contract as presented with the stipulation, with the request that each manhole project be billed separately, or itemized, billed separately.
I think the only thing you want to, back
The
your,
contract-
Breakdown.
break your,
Okay, I will try again,
try again, and include
the 39.
39,000, please.
I make a motion that the Board of Sewer Commissions approve the A&W maintenance for manhole rehabilitation contract for a total of $39,200, and we request that a breakout be provided as of the cost for each one of the 7 manholes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Donna, no, okay.
No,
So that's a 401. Okay,
410?
yeah,
410.
410, I had it in the
Yeah.
wrong order. Sorry about that. Okay, sewer usage billing for the first half for, ouch. I have a hand here. Sewer usage commitment, in the amount of $2,786,783.77.
Mr. Chairman, that's the first half billing of the total cost of EDUs per budget, and we bill twice a year. The bill cycle is February 1 to July 31, August 1 to January 31st.
What's the
And
date of
so-
this one?
This one is the first half, so this one goes from
7/1 to,
2/1 to 7/31. We bill in arrears.
I make a motion that we approve.
second for discussion?
Go.
It's not on the agenda, so are we carrying this under the 48-hour rule?
Yes, we'll have to.
I would
because-
like to make that in the motion that we're, in the record, that we're doing it under the 48-hour rule, because it's not on the
Yes,
agenda.
because this came up, she had forgot to include it
That's
to
right.
begin with.
Yeah.
This here,
Yeah,
sewer usage,
yeah, she forgot to include
right there, sewage usage bill, first half, it's right there, so it's on the agenda.
Right to it,
It's
isn't
not
it?
on the agenda.
It's right there, sewer usage billing.
Yeah, it is. It's right here.
Yes,
Sewer
it is,
usage
it's on the
billing.
agenda.
First, yeah.
I just checked it off.
Yeah, I did too.
I apologize.
No, no problem,
I
it's on the
thought-
agenda.
Okay.
Second?
Who made the motion?
I made the motion, you seconded it. It's
Second
already,
for
All in
discussion.
favor?
Aye.
aye.
Okay, 5 zip.
So that means my sewer bill's coming, right?
Yeah,
It
it's
does.
coming.
It
This
does.
this is your sewer bill. This you have in your hand is your sewer bill.
Well, I can understand that because I am full.
Okay, right. Superintendent's report.
I'll be very brief. I've been on vacation the last couple of weeks, and a lot of things we've done. I went out with Dave Requena to the car wash. It's the drive-through car wash on Cranberry Highway next to the, I think it's Charlie's Place.
Charlie's Place?
And there's a lot of conditions that are appalling to me. One is they're bypassing with a sump pump, and they cut into the sewer line and bypassing it.
Which one?
And what they're bypassing is a sand removal system, and removes different things in the car wash that we're not supposed to get. So I'm writing a letter. The letter is going out to, I'm working with his attorney, to require him to get an engineer's analysis of the system, so we know exactly what it's supposed to be, because there's two systems, that drive-through and then the self-serve. We have phosphate issues. I want testing routinely. He's going to put in a testing manhole. I need an MSDS of all his chemicals used in there. I walked through and I seen high pHs, 14 and whatever. I'm not saying it's the end of the world, but I need to know that. The MSDS sheets. I need that all done within 30 days, and then we'll evaluate after the 30 days what we actually have to do to repair the facility and get it back up and running.
How much he has to repair.
That's right. It's all on him. And I'm working with Attorney Bello, who he hired. The guy's from someplace way up north, so he needed local representation. And I said to Attorney Bello that these things have to be done. There's no, and he signed, when he first opened up, and he didn't realize, but he got a permit from the DEP, which says he has to do pretreatment. Not an option. And I said to him, sir, you don't have an option. It's in your permit. You have to do pretreatment. And so he was not aware of that. I said, it's not my fault. You signed it. Nonetheless, he said, I will fulfill. His name is Mr. McDonald. He said, I will do everything you need me to do, but I need some time. And I said, I'm going to give you a 30-day letter, and then we'll sit down and see where we are in 30 days, because you got to bring the engineers in. and then we'll figure it out, and then he's gonna get a list of repairs that he needs to do. So that was something we did. It was, you know, a last-minute thing. Early in the morning, went out and we did that, so it was a 4-hour inspection there. I drove to Hull yesterday. We got 2 grants. Beautiful trip. Hull's gorgeous. I didn't realize, I hadn't been to Nantasket Beach since I was a teenager. I forgot how beautiful it was. We got a grant from the energy, through the governor's new program, through CZM, and we got 2 grants. One is to put the bypasses in the 2 pump stations that we were, already made plans for. We've already seen those plans. And the second was to address the EQ basins. What do we do for the overflow? Because that's been the last March storm. We were on the brink of discharge to the river behind us, the Agawam River, and we need to eliminate that. One of the theories is that we should build it up. I don't know where that's going to go, so we'll get all those things.
So we got to do bypasses at 2 sites. Which one of the 2 pump
Cohasset
stations?
Narrows and
Okay.
Lopes Field.
And the other one was to build up our,
EQ basins at the plant.
thank you. I can't write fast enough.
I'm sorry, I'll slow it down. I'll go back to Texas. Also, and when I try to talk slow, I lose it. I'm sorry, I apologize. No, okay, so that's the grants, and we've been awarded. It was, I think I sent you the links. There's a news report on it, there's video. It's really, it's a powerful grant. CZM was given by the governor much more. He's got a bigger budget coming out next year. I want to say that they're taking, and we should take climate change serious. Resilience, I mean, I know I remember when I first heard about it, I said, well, that's going to be great because it's going to be warm here and cold in Florida. That'll be great. But it's a bigger picture. The sea is actually rising, and that's the issue. And that's documented. It's no joke, it's documented. So that's the issue, and that's what we're doing.
I'm
We're
sorry,
pretty excited.
How much grant did we get for each, how much were the 2 grants for? I don't remember a dollar amount, did I?
I didn't see a dollar amount.
They're in the article. I'll tell you exactly. I think one was 132, one was like 60, something like that. I'll tell you. Okay, 17 mass communities, $3.3 million. Wareham, Gloucester, Hull, Ipswich, Mattapoisett. Mattapoisett got $500,000. That's wild. Wareham, $153,375 for the bypass of Cohasset Narrows and Heinz Fields Pump Station. $63,750 for the resiliency assessment of overflow lagoons at the Wareham Water Pollution Control
That's
Facility.
just assessment, that's not
Yes, it is.
correcting it.
Not correcting it. The DEP has a couple trains of thought, some I don't like, so CZM said we should really investigate. We're just going to put a wall up, and the DEP said not so sure that's a good idea, because that's going to overflow. So let's see if we can find a better mitigation, I don't know, but it may end up being the wall.
Thank you.
DEP wasn't happy with it. Okay. Last week, we cleaned Wankinko from Swiss Beach Road to Ruggles. We removed 5 inches of sand in an 8-inch pipe.
From where?
From Swiss Beach Road, Wankinko Drive, from Swiss Beach Road, the dirt road to Ruggles Pump Station. So it comes here, 300 feet, 300 feet, 300 feet, and then 50. So it's 950 feet from Swiss Beach Road to Ruggles, Swiss Beach Road to Ruggles Pump Station. We had 5 inches of sand in that pipe. So the flow was backing up the rest, but we got that cleaned. It was quite a job. 12th Street, we cleaned it and cut every root out. The Vactor guy had a special cutter. He was able to cut every root out. It was incredible. Took him 2 days. Incredible. I was impressed and amazed. I was amazed. That line is off our list of need repair. It's done. He did such a fantastic job. He cut the roots flush.
But now, those roots are going to go right back in if we don't get those pipes lined.
We're going to treat it. Well, we got to be careful because I'll line the pipes and they go back and they'll go through. They may potentially go through the liner. So we're going to treat it with chemicals to keep them down. So we're trying to figure out the best approach, and I don't know what that is.
You mean treat the plants on top of the soil?
I like to get rid of all those trees. They're not our trees. They're all weeping willows and oak trees, and we don't own a tree, but how do you tell the
12th
neighbors?
Street, is that in Onset?
It's
Or
in
is that
Onset.
12th?
How
Huh?
do you tell neighbors, how do you tell people to get rid of their trees?
I did get confused between 12th Street and 12th Ave.
12th
Where's
Ave is Weeantic, 12th Street is Onset.
Onset. Isn't that one the town just recently repaved?
It's brand new, that's right. Absolutely, brand new. So we cut every root out. And to your point, I can't answer that, because the trees are there, and when you cut roots, they come back. Trees will always, the trees are there, that whole
Well,
street
that's
is
why
lined
I
with
say,
trees.
if we're gonna cut them out,
I'll talk to
shouldn't we line the pipes
I
as
gotta
soon as
find
we do?
out. I don't know. We're lining with, roots take up concrete, they take up asphalt. I don't know the strength of them. We may have to just keep treating them and then cutting, it may be a constant maintenance, I gotta
But
figure it out.
if you're gonna treat them, aren't we gonna kill the trees?
No, when the root hits there, it'll kill the root there. The tree root's not gonna, won't kill the trees. Actually, the company guarantees it. It's roots out of, I think they're out of Ohio or something, they guarantee it.
What did it cost us?
Well, they got no
to do 12th
trees
Street?
out there
Well, we're
anyway.
not done yet. Oh, good. So I'll give you that. So for the week's work, it was $1,800 a day for the Vactor, 5 days of work. So they did one Kinko, 12th Street, Point Independence, which is the 12-inch, this was a tough one, 12-inch asbestos pipe along the beach from Point Independence Yacht Club to Eagle Road. And then we went back to, it comes off of Green Street, I think it's Maple Street. That was a 12-inch pipe with approximately 6 to 7 inches of sand. The manhole was overwhelmed, so we got that cleaned. We're gonna go back and do the other end. And then also on Beach Street in Swiss Beach, Beach Street's down by the beach area there, the beach that's off of shore, not the other one. We had a blockage. We thought we'd have to dig that up. He got the blockage out. It took him an extra day because he got his tool stuck. It was an old plug somebody dropped in there. When he hit it, it fell on it, we couldn't get it out. It took us 2 days. He actually had to cut it, build a tool, come in the other manhole, and pull it through. But that blockage is completely gone, so
What
we're
was it-
excited about that.
What
It
was
saves.
it blocked with?
So on the end of a pipe, 6-inch pipe, there's a plug. They plug it. So the
Okay,
contractor threw it in the pipe,
okay.
and so it wedged in, and we had to get it out. I was amazed. We were prepared to dig it up. I didn't see any other way, and he did a good job. Don Alsop, he does a great job. That guy's really amazing me. So we did that, and so that Point Independence Beach, Swiss Beach, so that cost us $9,000 because it's $1,800 a day for 5 days. We're gonna do one more week. And we got, I think, 6 other streets to do, and then we're done with emergencies of factoring, get all the sand out and that type of thing.
So there's 6 more to do?
I have 5 more days. There's like 6 more streets or 6 more areas, I should say. So it was a good time. It was successful. I'm looking for very successful. We got lines cleared.
That's a plus. Something's working in our favor.
Yeah, I was impressed. I thought we were gonna spend a ton of money, and it just really, 9,000 sounds like, for me, it's a short amount compared to what we could have spent. I know it's a lot of money, and I don't want to misrepresent that, because I'm not a ratepayer. And so I appreciate the ratepayers' money, and this is a lot, but it's short money in the long run for the ratepayers.
Did you camera these lines after they were done?
They are, before and after.
So we'll be able to compare them 6 months from now and see whether the roots are coming in?
So now it becomes a maintenance, and we keep sending the camera down there, and as soon as they come in, we'll clean them up. Yes, absolutely,
But, I mean, we'll have a comparison.
absolutely.
Wonderful.
Because it's a long-term thing. That's part of an I&I. We did a great I&I study, and it has a lot of recommendations. And one of the recommendations is more smoking, more camera, and be more diligent so we can follow these things, and we have to set up a good program. So we are doing that, absolutely. You're 100% right. And I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. If you want me to get the EDU schedule, that stuff now, I can do that.
Yeah, let's
So
go right
EDU
into that.
update, Mr. Abrahams and Mike are working on it. They're at Mike's at a conundrum, and I'm going to say this without mentioning numbers. Just by doing the basic water use rate and what we need to run the facility, that 596 is going to expand. So we're trying to figure it out. He's trying to balance up between commercial and residential. And then we talk about capital improvements. So he's working with the accountant, and he's going to give us a better number. They're going to work towards and then bring it to this. And I don't want to talk numbers publicly, because people will hold you to numbers. But things have gone up, everything's gone up. Cost of doing business has gone up, so Mike wants to be real, and it's no joke. It's gonna be real numbers, it's gotta be real comparison between what we actually need to run the plant and what we need to continue improving our infrastructure.
When are we gonna see these?
Well, I'll tell you, there's drafts, I just don't want to be public, and so I would suggest that we take a ride up there, and you can see it all. But I don't want to make it public, because numbers, if we talk about numbers publicly, they become etched in people's minds, and it may not be final numbers.
But he's got the numbers?
Absolutely, he's run tons of numbers, they're all there, and we can go drive to his office and see them. I can actually probably have them come down, but I promise you, I don't want to put them public right now, because they're not done, and they're all over the place, and you know how it is, you put numbers out there.
Last time we went up there, they weren't done either.
These are done, well, they were, yeah, he wasn't completely done. Remember, we're working on old data, 2017 and 2014. And so, and what's not done, to be frank, is the cost. He told me that he was told that he's got to keep the cost down, and I said, Mike, you got to do what the reality is. I can't worry about keeping costs down. It's got to be real numbers to what our costs are, our improvements are. It's real numbers, and then we have to figure out where we're going to go from there. But we can't just say, okay, I want to keep the number of this, and then suddenly he's been trying to play with the numbers to keep the cost down. I said, Mike, that's ludicrous. The facts are the facts, and we got to play with the facts. And so he'll present them. I think we should go up there and read them, see them, because they're done. The numbers are done. He doesn't like them. And then we can give him guidance, but I don't want to do that publicly until we get to a final. That's my opinion, Mr. Chairman, that's what I believe we should do.
Well, no, I'd go along with, not making it public until we've seen it. But we were up there, what, a year and a half ago? And we heard the same story.
They've always been concerned because it's spending money without any guarantee. This year, we told them, forget water rates. It's EDU. We were doing water rates before. He's frustrated because we're going to get water rates. Now, we had said to him, no more water rates. I don't believe we'll ever get water rates. Let's focus on redesigning the EDU structure. That's what he's trying to do.
I go along with what you're saying. However, I still stand by something you had said a long time ago, that we should at least increase the rates, even if it's 3% right now. I mean, we haven't increased the rates in a while.
And that's what he's saying, and he doesn't, I don't want to make that public.
And then when we hit these folks, it's gonna be bang, and it's gonna be real, but I just don't know why we're not taking a percentage and just going with it, a small percentage now and going with it.
Commissioner Bronk, you're absolutely right. There's many towns you can see them. They had to do rate increases because of costs in many towns. In the first year, they get slammed because you bring the numbers up.
Exactly.
And it's double. Some of these rates have doubled and tripled, and then they stabilize. We haven't done any, we've been, politically we've been great because ratepayers are getting the break, everybody's happy. Our costs are going out of sight. We're behind the 8 ball in a big way. And so there should always be an increase, always.
Why don't we, agree on a smaller percentage right now until we get all the data together? Because I'm not convinced that we're going to get something in the near future, and his costs keep going and rising, and realistically, everybody's costs are rising, and we haven't made the adjustments yet. And I think we should look at a percentage and put it into effect.
I agree.
When was the last time, when did we set the existing EDU? Was it 596?
EDU was set in 96. I know what's
No,
really...
when was...
1996, the present EDU schedule was made.
And what is the EDU to 596?
596, we did that.
So
I've been here for
$5
8 years. That was done in 2011.
596 is an EDU, and it was done in 2011?
That's right. And the board at that time told me, don't come back for any more, because it wasn't a, it wasn't...
What was it before 596?
584. It was $12 increase, and that was a major fight.
So can we look at the cost of living increase since 11 and find something that's reasonable? I'm not saying we have to match it, but that might give us a
$12 a year?
guideline.
Even go up,
$12 a year?
Looking for a guideline.
what if we just go up 3% right now? Right now.
That would-
Well, it might have to be,
18 bucks.
maybe it
That
should be
would-
more than that.
That would change the rate from 596 to 615.
To 6 what?
So, to 615.
Yeah.
So that's, I think that's reasonable.
I think it's more than reasonable.
I think it's more than reasonable, yes. If I shared with you some of the numbers we were getting, It's,
Okay,
it's
and you
more
know
than
what?
reasonable.
And I believe that's the way to hit it. That's, because,
How much more does it cost to operate the plant than it did in 2011?
Well, products went up 3 to 4%. They've been annually, annually. Labor goes up 3% annually, right? They get raised 3% annually. And we don't match it. We
I
haven't
don't
matched
know.
it since 2011. So how's it work?
I agree with going up a percentage, but I've always felt that I wanted that percentage to go straight into maintenance, getting the system upgraded,
For capital improvements.
No, so that's,
lining pipes,
That's exactly-
lining
well-
manholes, replacing pumps.
Commissioner Dunlap, that's the issue, because what they're doing, they're struggling is the capital improvement side of it. That's going to raise the rates. You're right. So you can say that all 3% goes into that line, because we have a capital improvement plan, and it's structured, so you can say that.
Okay, now, we just agreed to build sewer rates at 2 million something. So can you run the plant on $5 million?
O&M, we're struggling. O&M, actual money, because you take out the cost of, so we got a $7 million budget. 3.5 goes to debt. 500,000 goes to lights. 1.2 million goes to labor. I'm trying to think about fixed costs at the top of my head. Chemicals is 400,000 a year. When you add it up, to run the plant's like $300,000. That's what we run the plant with.
So is that a yes or a no?
The answer is no.
no.
The answer is no.
So we need,
Even
so
if-
the 3% is already needed,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
so
it
we're
was
not
done
getting
annually.
anything to upgrade our infrastructure.
If
We're
it's
not
done annually.
following, we're not falling further and further behind. I mean, it's something. We have to do something.
But we're not going in debt. We're just not getting anything upgraded.
We've
Well-
been lucky.
But based on this discussion,
I'm not a doomsdayer.
Well,
I'm not either, but I don't sleep well
Donna,
at
do you want
nights.
to make a motion?
I do. I make a motion that we increase the EDU rate by 3%, bringing it up to,
What's 5% come up?
615. Thank you.
Second.
620,
And that's a 3% increase.
620,
620, yeah, I got like 618 or something.
615.
6:15.
The motion was for 615.
Donna?
But, yeah,
Motion's for 3%.
no,
Well, I would,
Question
you know,
on the
I would
motion.
like to amend your motion slightly, Donna, and make it,
is it like $18, right?
Just,
yeah, but make it
Yeah,
from
$18.
596 to 615.
Okay, that's fine.
Just simple, because otherwise you get into pennies.
Well, fine,
But
yeah.
Ignore the pennies.
That's my motion.
5% and dedicate
596 to 615, that's the motion.
Yes.
Affected,
Can I ask a question before we go with this motion?
Yeah.
How about going up 5% and dedicating 2% for the infrastructure?
well, what does 5% take it up to?
620.
620?
24. It adds $25 to the base rate. Where we are right
I'll
now.
go with that. I
I
definitely would go
withdraw
with
my
that.
second.
Okay.
Then you withdraw your motion and
Okay.
put it again.
Which is,
All right.
that is
It'd make
something
it,
I wanted to
it'd make
do.
it 621.
I couldn't agree with you
I
more.
wanted to earmark money.
Exactly, that's what I want.
All right, one of you fellas.
I'm willing to go up with it if you'll earmark it for infrastructure.
All right, you make the motion, please, because I agree with you. And I'm confused right
Are
now.
we agreeing on that?
And just
All right, I make a motion that we increase the rates by 5% and dedicate 2% to the infrastructure.
you want to put a number on it, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman?
I'd rather put a number on it for people. Just, it's easy for them. It's more
The
power.
5% will bring our rate up to
621.
621.
Okay. Then you said 2% of that the increase
Is
is,
dedicated to the infrastructure.
Basically $5.
I second it.
so $5 of the 621 will go for infrastructure. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, that's the motion.
And
Donna
I second
seconded?
it, yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It passes 500.
And when will this be implemented? With
You
our
do it
next
imme-
billing cycle?
The next billing cycle, you do it immediately.
Do we
Because
have to
this
go
billing
before
cycle's
everybody
done, we're
to
just
do it?
billing. So the
Okay.
next billing cycle in January, we'll do it.
So should we put that in the motion that it will be effective the first of the year?
Well, if you put effective immediately, it starts, because remember, we bill in
Yeah.
arrears. So it starts
Exactly.
today,
It starts today.
because we're on the new billing cycle. And then January we bill, we'll bill the new rates.
All right.
The date today, the 3rd, the 2nd? 2nd.
Okay. That was easy.
Well,
It was the right thing to do.
just to repeat the
Mary,
obvious.
you understand what we just did?
Yeah, I'm getting different math.
We'll make it up as we go along.
No,
Yeah, the
no, no.
maths,
I'll
I
talk
think
to
they
you
just
afterwards.
hold numbers, because I get a little different math with the whole numbers, so they run in, that's all.
Okay. If, I want to give them a number, because people like numbers.
Mhm.
Dog
Yeah.
number. All right.
Now,
Okay.
at the selectmen's meeting, Patrick mentioned that we would have the EDU rates tonight.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
Does he have them to give to us?
Did everybody come to the sewer commissioners meeting? They have the EDU rates for
Is
Thursday
that
night.
right?
I have preliminary rates. I'm not gonna make them
He
public.
must not have told us.
I was surprised too.
I don't know where he,
No.
I don't know where he got that, but yeah, it's,
5 on next week?
Sure. No, next week I'm gonna be in Maine.
Oh.
Week after. No.
if he was to do the rate, if I was to publicize the rates, this is what they are.
Thank you.
Simple math.
No.
So he's struggling.
Not bad for a town this size.
No, it isn't, but I,
Jimmy, in summary,
so
right?
that's why I'm thinking we should discuss
In
it
summary-
before we put this out publicly.
Oh, I agree with you
I
100%.
think we should mention the fact that because we're in a coastal zone, and we do so much pumping of our material,
That's
it's
true.
a very costly system,
It is,
and we've been very lucky.
we have. And it's been said to me, especially at the
So-
meeting, Secretary Beaton said, there's a price to pay for living on the water. It's not
And
straightforward.
part of that cost is because of the sump pumps, which leads us into the next.
Yeah.
The sump pumps are not helping us. They're
No.
adding to that cost.
They-
When are
they
we
add
gonna,
to the
when are we gonna
cost.
come up with a policy on that?
I would suggest that each commissioner write a policy, what they like, and then we'll sit and thrash it, and then come with a final. And then I'll put something
I
together.
couldn't agree with you more. We have to do something.
Where
Did
have
you
we
read that
s-
I&I report?
Where are we stumbling on this enforcement?
Enforcement.
Enforcement.
So
yeah,
that's,
the biggest-
I mean,
It's already in the law.
it's against the law.
It's already in the law. We just have to come up with a policy that's palatable. So I'm suggesting each
So
commissioner
we
write what
talked
they
about
believe.
informing everybody, we talked about a moratorium, we talked about an assessment until you prove otherwise.
I think it's straightforward in
I don't
that
know.
sense.
Yeah, I mean, if-
Maybe that's too much to visit tonight, but
Right,
we can marinate on that a little bit and maybe talk
I
about
think
it
for
next
the, I
time.
think for our next meeting, we should come up with a, at least discuss how we want to go forward with it, what we're going to do, and implement it on that night.
Okay.
I'm st-
Yeah, because we talked
Do-
about a lot of it on the 7th,
Yeah,
on the
we
19th of
talked about
July.
it, we
Right.
talked different
But
pieces.
nothing-
Again,
but
some
nothing-
people just don't know what's going on in their basement.
That's right, they don't.
They honestly do not.
They, I
understand.
know
I
that.
agree with you. I couldn't agree more.
And so we have a couple more of these we had one that Chairman Gilberti was at, Jim, I hate to call you Jim,
That's
Chairman
easy.
Gilberti,
I know Jim.
in Hamilton Beach, and we talked about that, and you know what? They were receptive. People want to be educated. And so we'll do more, we'll continue to do that with this. So I've got August 18th, I have Rose Point. I'm trying to get into Parkwood, and I'm trying to get the Onset Bay. So I'm just looking to have discussion with as many people as I can in groups where they have residents there, because, and then we're doing a newsletter. In the newsletter,
You know, and
Did you all
I
get a
think,
copy of
I
this
think
letter?
we talked about this too, Guy. You said you could ask for an invitation to come in and look and see what they have.
it's in the,
And probably a lot of people will cooperate,
it's in the bylaws. We can send letters out.
but the ones that don't, the burden of proof should be on them, I'm sorry.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
just think about it.
But we're looking at, we know what sites have sump pumps. You know some homes that are discharging into the sewer system based on some camera work. So, to me, we hit them hard, give them in the money, saying, here, unless you can prove differently, here's your surcharge for using a pump, sump pump,
And
remove it.
I agree, and I think that should go to all users, because the ones that don't have, they will be, it's a straightforward thing. Because what I don't want to do is say, I've seen this street, this is the only street I'm going to charge. I don't think that works well.
No.
I'd have to do all the streets. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to pick out your street and say, Sandy, your street's the only one I did. So you're paying, this street I don't know about, so I can't charge. That's unfair to you,
Well-
because it's not unfair to
You
them.
have to start somewhere, and
Yeah.
as you find them, as you find them, we build them, or whatever we agree on,
'Cause
you
I-
know, and just have a continuous billing cycle go. You can't get them all at one time, and no one expects that, and I don't want to sit back and wait till we get through all of them. Let's start
What
hitting
I'm saying
them
is
as you see them.
we send a letter to everybody, and
Yeah.
then people invite us in.
No, when
I
you
don't
say
have one.
everybody,
Sewer users.
not every sewer user is saying on your next bill, you're gonna get a hit with an X amount of fine.
Yeah, we give them 6 months, yes. Effective immediately, the sewer department is charging $300 for all sump pumps that are there as a fine.
And then prove to me you don't have a sump
we'll
pump, and I'll
definitely-
take
yes,
you
right.
off the list.
Call this number,
You're gonna be
Okay,
overloaded.
wait a minute.
And we'll
All
take
right.
out the- what do you
All right.
think?
All right, everybody, for the next
meeting.
For the next meeting, let's each of us come in with what we propose
I agree.
and where we started. Because otherwise, we're gonna go circling around the horn.
That's right, and we can circle around next meeting. We can make it a working meeting
come up
and
with
talk
Okay.
about those kind of
Come up with
things.
it and get it finalized.
I have the newsletter here that's going out in the bills. I'll approve that today.
Okay.
And it says, all sump pumps must be removed from the sanitary sewer system. We are seeking the help from sewer users in eliminating all sump pump connections, roof leaders, connections, and any other connection to the sanitary sewer system that is not sanitary flow. Please remove sump pumps from your sewer system. And so it's pretty straightforward. And above it cites all the laws that pertain to that statement.
Would you be willing to give that to Mary so she can put it in the Courier?
I would, because right now, this is going to go into our billing. We can get this in the, I'll give them, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Because it's costing all of us money for that extra flow. Of
Yes.
course, it hasn't rained in months, but that's beside,
Remember, it's not
That's
so-
what you're putting in the next bill?
Yes. Yes, the bills that we authorized tonight, they're going to go out, yes, that this will be in the next billing cycle.
You're just asking them at this point?
No, this is telling them you must. It's not saying would you, it's saying you must. In big, but please remove. It's a must. This is not.
I mean,
if you like.
you've cited the EPA, you've cited everybody else.
It's there.
So the only thing you haven't mentioned is their pocketbook.
That's right. And when we come up with.
Should you?
not,
Should I put in here potential fine?
I would rather put
Wait.
that into play after we discuss this on the our
On
next
phone
meeting.
mailing.
Then-
All
then-
together at one point, because
But then you're
then
into the
at
next
same-
billing cycle.
Well, we can get the letters out to them, we can bill out letters, mail letters out when we decide. Say you decide next meeting, and we got it with a concrete policy, we can mail it to everybody.
Huge fines will follow.
And, you know, that'll give us time to check with legal also, where we're going with this thing, because the enforcement's the biggest thing.
I'd say
INI
it.
so if you
status.
don't want the fine, prove to us you don't have a sump pump.
Excuse me?
Well, Preliminary, in the
That's what I
preliminary,
say, put
Say
that
for
down on
preliminary.
what
first
That will
address
be
this.
proposal
For
is.
discussion.
That's for
you could
proposal for
always say,
discussion.
something like we are considering
INI. INI status.
non-compliance.
Guy?
You may incur a fine, something like that, guy,
okay.
you know? Just kind of plant the seed.
Yes, I agree. It's that's very light. INI. So, Mr. Chairman and members, we have a list. It's quite expensive to repair all the INI they found. And so I think to Commissioner Dunlaw's point, that 2% dedicated will go to that. We've got some money allocated to continue on with the INI. If you read that report, you'll see all the breakdowns. I mean, it's
But a huge portion of it was sump pumps.
sump pumps, and that tells us get rid of the sump pumps.
That was a great report.
If we get the sump pumps out, we've saved a ton of money in treatment and the whole 9 yards. So, and the thing that we
And
don't realize,
delay the potential expansion of the plant at the same time.
it's huge. It's gallons we don't have. It overwhelms the entire system.
What would it do to tie in Bond's figures?
Well, eventually, the O&M would go down. And so we can adjust that as we go, because if we use a factor of a percent, we can follow it. So let's say 1 year, which I don't think ever happens, the cost, all of a sudden, that cost drops significantly. If we go by some factor, whether it's a CI, what is it, there's some index, what is it, some index they put out annually, and if it dropped, then we have the
Yeah.
right to drop with it, but I think
Yeah.
that'll adjust as it adjusts itself going forward. But I don't see it coming down, to be blunt. I don't see inflation, cost of living, I don't see anything coming down, but it may.
What do I know?
And I mentioned to you, and I'll say it again, tariffs are killing us. We're getting aluminum products, steel, we're buying steel, tariffs are killing us. It's killing us. Our prices are rising, and nothing we can do about it, nothing. Delay in shipments, it's just been a nightmare for us on certain particular parts and chemicals and different things of that. Just the way it is. So tariffs is not a good thing. It's only opinion, one man's opinion. Okay, because it's costing us, but nonetheless, that's where I am. That's all I have. I&I, sump pumps, EDU, that's it.
A new business.
What's the status on the Swift Beach project?
The contract is in the hands of Mr. Bowen for the engineer, so we can go out to bid.
So you mean RFP is in his hands?
No, the contract.
Contract.
We already agreed on the engineer. The
Okay,
lowest-
so we have selected somebody to
Yes,
do it, so
the
he's,
lowest
Okay.
quote went in.
okay.
Now, the problem is, it's got to go through legal. It's right now in legal. Once legal gets it out, then I'll get it to you guys for signature and move it forward.
Did I see
And
where
then
you
we'll go.
guys
So
have
they
been
haven't
running
done
over
any
the-
surveying or anything?
Oh, that, no, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
The preliminary, yes,
Looked like somebody'd
surveying
been
is
going into the
done.
woods there,
Surveying is
right?
done, yes. We located the manhole we could not find. The surveyors went through there, they've got every easement identified.
I could see where they were driving in there.
We've got that, so what I'll do is I can present it to the
We
board.
found your easement?
Swift Beach.
No, I didn't
I
see it.
noticed it the other day.
Yeah.
No, we found your easement?
Oh, you did?
Easement through the back. Actually, it's crazy, when it shows that the lot, the end lot, I forget the name of the street.
That'd be
forgive
me. Yeah.
As soon as you go past the shed, it shoots right back to the woods. And then it shows land that's owned by the town, almost to your deck. It's kind of weird. So so we got the easement, that's all done, the engineers have done all that. They allocated, delineated, all the way through, and include the property with the swimming pool, everything
yeah.
before that, all that's been delineated, all of it's out there. We couldn't find a manhole on Long
Meadow.
Long Meadow, we couldn't find a manhole, we finally found that manhole. So that's exposed, and so
All
we're
of the
done.
easements have been identified, and you
We're ready to
you
rock
can
and
run the
roll, hopefully.
We're
bypass?
ready to go. Once we get a contract, we can go.
Okay.
And also, I've got somebody coming in, we're gonna look at it, the guy's out of Middleborough, I forget his name, he does tree service and cutting, we gotta get those, that marsh cut. So I'll walk it with him, get an idea of cost, and because we gotta open that marsh up, and we can't get,
Have you
Thanks,
walked
Lord.
it with Mr. Pichette?
Mr. Pichette's waiting for you.
Oh, God. Please don't.
Don't what, walk it?
Not with Blanchett.
Let me say this to you, Mr. Pichette's happy. He thought I was gonna dig things up. I said, no, we're lining it, I just gotta get some trees out. Oh, I'm fine with that. So, because he didn't know, he was in the impression that we're gonna dig up the pipes. He was freaking out. I said, Dave, we're not digging anything up.
You're gonna line them
We're gonna line them
through the manholes.
with the manholes. It's the only time I gotta take something, the easement is overgrown, and I gotta lay a pipe down that, so we're gonna cut out the easement.
Right, you have the right to cut the easement.
Absolutely, that's maintenance. That's the law.
Exactly.
That's wetland law. So if you read the wetland law, we have a right.
Dave's waiting for me,
Dave's waiting for you.
and
All
I'm
day.
waiting for the humidity to drop below 70%.
Tell me when you're ready. We'll walk it.
Probably December.
Okay.
So to answer your question, yes, we're done, we're on schedule, we're moving pretty good.
Have you done anything on any of the new areas that we'd like to sewer?
They're calculating the numbers as far as they're taking the actual flow based upon the water usage, and we'll come up on the areas, we'll come up with a total of gallons, whether it's 37,000, whatever that, per that area is, and then we'll put some costs to it. Yeah, we are moving forward on that. I gotta tell you, this is gonna sound mean, but Agawam abuts Onset Bay. That's the cleanest waters we have. It's not a trophic. the Agawam, the Webantics, is hammered. We are on the list, state and federal list of rivers that are trophic. They are impaired. Agawam is not an impaired area.
Okay, on the,
So we have to think
on the
about that.
basis of that, what's the status with the run down to the canal?
So we've been doing, we did our first set of samples. It was interesting. The Harbor Masters took us out.
Oh, what's the status with the railroad on allowing us to go down?
The railroad's not going to stop us. It's just that the costs are going to be more significant. The railroad will give us permission to go down the line, but they're saying we got to run a wall.
We go to the middle of the track?
Gosh.
You got a what?
So there's the tracks, here's the tracks, and the land slopes like this on both sides,
Yeah, yeah.
okay? So what we have to do is, in this area here, we got to put a wall. The side we're putting the pipe on, we got to put a wall. We got to drill in a wall. We got to, it's like driving sheathing in. Sheathing and drive it in, and then on the other side, we can put the pipe.
I was just thinking,
That cost is really, really
Is
expensive.
this the full length they're talking about, or just in areas?
full length of the
Full
tracks.
length of the
Of
tracks. Because that track cannot shift one iota. And here's the other thing, while you're doing that, they put these levels on the tracks to make sure it doesn't move. They check it, they can't move one iota, they actually monitor it. And then also, we have to permission every time we go on, because trains come in, we work around their schedule. There's some factors, and they said, yes, but these are the conditions. And they added tremendous cost.
We'd have to drive sheet piles down the entire length of the railroad track?
Absolutely, where we're putting a pipe.
Shit.
So we've got a guy looking at, we sent him all the paperwork to directional drill from the plant directly to Mass Maritime. We're doing that. We're looking at the cost to go down 6 and 28, looking at the cost to go down onto the Ave. So we're looking at all those costs to see what they are compared to what the rails will find the best alternative. And so we'll see exactly what that is. And it is what it is. And so we'll figure that out. So that's where we are with that. It's been something.
Yeah, I'll say.
But they didn't refuse us, these are the conditions. Their engineering firm is, who is it? Jacobs Engineering is the one that made the determination.
Okay, can you give us an update on the Gracilla status? What's going on with that?
Grease Sealer, oh my gosh. Grease Sealer, the status of Grease Sealer is we're cooking oil. We just got back online. We're offline for probably 3 months. The parts that we're using from our contractor were incorrect. They kept failing. So Grease Sealer supplied the proper gaskets, the proper nozzles, the proper regulators, and we're back online. So it's been a nightmare for me. I'll take the responsibility. I hired that does our regular boilers. I said, do these boilers, and they did a great job. But that's such a proprietary piece of equipment that everything was specially ordered and designed. I didn't know that. I didn't read the paperwork. And so anything I put in failed because the oils eat the rubbers. So we're back online. We ordered a tank to put the, so what happened is we got 2 cook tanks. We're using one for storage. So we have a 10,000 gallon tank we can't cook in. So we ordered an 8,000 gallon tank that's going to be put behind it. And then we're going to cook with 2 tanks and we double our production. So we're finally where we need to be, or close to where we need to be. So it's
We
a
have
lot of
enough-
mistakes.
We have enough oil to cook?
I have plenty of oil. I got about 7,000 gallons of oil. And I'm getting ready to sell it.
Double in production.
Yes,
What are you gonna do with it?
I'm going to sell it.
I thought the commodity was way down. It wasn't worth
But you
doing.
still got to sell it. So talk about me losing money on that, I agree. But we cut our costs down on sludge because we're getting rid of sludge. Grease, we're decanting grease and sending it straight to the incinerator. That's been waiting, I'll tabulate those numbers for you. So that's tremendous for us, plus it's coming out of our system by pumping. So I'll look at all those numbers too, because that's an important number too. If I decrease my shipping charges to the incinerator, especially now that it's gone out of sight, it's a savings.
So the only grease we're processing is ours.
No, still restaurants, we're getting all restaurant grease. We're still getting grease from Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and Mass.
If we're not gonna make any money on this, why?
Well, they paid a disposal.
The disposal fee is 14 cents per gallon. That's upfront. We're trying to make back-end money. We've made more money this year for taking it in. I was just decanting it and shipping the solids out, and we're making money. So we added grease sealer to make more money, and I run through a lot of issues that unforeseen to me, and I didn't realize they needed one more back component. And the company's willing to help us because they should have told us. So yeah, we're gonna get grease. I'm not gonna start taking grease because that's a revenue source. We made $500,000 last year on grease. I'm not gonna get rid of it. Our cost to get rid of the grease is $180,000.
So even with the commodity price being down,
The commodity
you're
prices,
operating in the black?
yes, we get grease in. I've always taken grease in. We've been making grease since 2011. We've been getting grease in and making money on it. This was to enhance that. It hasn't enhanced it. I'm still working towards it. It'll eventually enhance it. Then the numbers are gonna go exponentially. But yeah, until then, and that's why we're working with this. It's the first one, prototype. I made some mistakes. There's just things we didn't know, but absolutely. I'm excited about it. We're still working, and we had a lot of issues with the operation because I didn't know about the pots.
Just another thing, Guy. You mentioned before the price of treating a gallon of
8 cents.
effluent to come, is that a pretty firm number, a pretty fixed number?
It's a basic math number. I don't, the
Okay,
CPA.
all I'm getting at is that a realistic number
It's
for
gallons,
us to use in determining what it would cost us to treat excess gallons coming in?
what it is, it's a total cost divided by our total gallons. That's
Okay.
8 cents a gallon.
My point is, if that 8 cents is inaccurate, and if that's a number we can use, that's a number then that's transferable to a sump pump
It is.
on their
That's a
output,
raw number, yes.
so we know what it costs us for that person to use that sump pump to pump in here.
I agree. Now, you're an accountant, your business is math. You'd have to look and see what the finite numbers are. I don't know that. I'm taking
No,
two
but
raw
I mean, if
numbers,
that's-
absolutely.
If that's,
Is that, I'll ask, Donna knows better than I.
Is that-
Is that a true representation? I'm taking total gallons we process
Yeah.
and total costs. It's 8 cents a gallon. Is that a real number?
yeah, that's a real number.
Okay, that's what it is.
Assuming that the
Very straightforward number.
the other is correct.
Guy, you mentioned that Weeantic River was real bad.
Still on the list.
What do we have out there that we need to sewer?
Well, everything in West Wareham. Okay, so you go West Wareham, past Rose Point, there's all that, because remember, the Weeantic goes all the way up beyond West
So is
Wareham.
anything on the Weeantic?
Excuse me?
Everything on the Weeantic. So like 851 Main Street, which is that has not been sewered. So all that development in West Wareham is adding to the pollution,
Absolutely.
including, I'm gonna say Wareham Crossing, Walmart, all that building in there.
Well, they're on sewer.
Oh, they are, but the
All that's on
items,
sewer. So you go down Main Street to pass our pump station, Ferring Hill Road.
yep, is
Then you
not
go up to
sewered.
Main Street, there's a big development.
Yeah, 851 Main Street.
So, and you keep going down into all the new houses that are, off of Paper Mill Road, all these, they're all tie into the river. They all
They
back
are.
up to the river.
Okay,
There's a lot, Weeantic River is huge.
because I'm saying, we did Hamilton, we did Swifts, we did the big coastal communities along Weeantic, and now we have to look at the
Higher.
other clusters of homes that are facing, but you're saying Agawam is better.
You got a major problem up in the Shangri-La area,
Well,
too.
that's the
So,
Shangri-La's on
so
this
what I like
now.
to do Shangri-La, and I'll throw it out now publicly, I've been holding off on this, I've talked to Makepeace. They have a pump station up, they have a treatment plant. I believe we can get about 35,000 gallons per day. I'd like to take all that sewer out of, up in that area there,
Yeah.
and send it to they're on, where if you go down Plymouth Road,
Yeah.
Wareham Road,
Yeah.
and then the big development up there?
Yeah,
Yes.
Rose Point, Rosebrook.
No, no, no.
Plymouth, the Plymouth one.
Yes, what is it? It's, you think of Rosebrook, but it's not, right. What did they call it? It used to be River Run, and then they changed the name.
Okay, but it's off of Plymouth Ave.
Yes, straight down Plymouth Ave.
Yeah.
You come to the YMCA,
Yeah.
and if you
No,
take a
Plymouth
left,
Lane.
you go a little further down, look on the left, that's where the treatment plant is. I'd like to run a line from there down to our part, to us, and then tie in and send all that sewer to them. I'm talking with Makepeace now about it, and they're
Well, it
agreeing.
certainly would be,
Would they have the capability?
Absolutely. For full disclosure, they made the deal with the DEP a long time ago. Yes. And I'm trying to jump on it before
So
before
by-
Plymouth grabs it.
by pulling our lines from Shangri-La to that site, it's better than even creating our own treatment center for Shangri-La or trying to take it down Glen Charlie.
We will do a cost analysis on all three, bring it to what we got, doing something substation there, and tying to them. But to build a substation or a treatment plant there, it's a little pricey.
Well, you don't have land either.
And the other thing I was looking at, we talked about the septic systems. What I would like to do in those areas, they got the septic system that gets down 2 parts per million of nitrogen. We literally take over all those houses. We own them septic, we put them in slowly. People pay like they do, they pay a sewer fee.
Well, part of that, I thought that area was had put water in, and not everybody is even tied to water. So that's even makes it more complicated, is that they have their own septic system or cesspool, and they're not tied to town water.
Most of it's tied to, Shangri-La's tied to town water.
We did an analysis a couple years ago, and we were surprised how many homes had not been tied to town water.
Really?
Yeah.
And keep in mind, and this is what people should know with the wells, one of the biggest problems out in that area was nitrates and nitrites. Nitrites take your kids out. And we were finding wells 50, 100 feet apart, and nitrates were ridiculous. Matter of fact, at closings, the banks required treatment centers for the water because they couldn't pass the water test. So those in Shangri-La area that are on the wells, test your water. Especially if you get young kids, you better test your water because you're talking about their health. It's no joke. It's no joke. Us old timers, we can walk right through it. Young kids can't handle it. So that's how I like to sewer that area. It's one of my ideas that I'm thinking of when we're talking about it. Because it is rough. They need sewer up there in the woods. Because the rivers come down to us. It all flows down to Mill, Agawam, and out.
So Shangri-La would include the White Island area too, right?
We have 30,000. We have to look at the total gallons. I've actually did a preliminary on it. I'll share it with you.
Okay.
I had the intern do a preliminary, all the areas, and what 35,000, and what we could actually get for 35. We got to make a decision of what's the most important to us.
I'm sure.
Have you heard, Guy, have you heard anything on the testing on the water warrior system down at Otis?
I have not. I'll inquire.
Just curious.
I have not. I haven't been asking.
And also, are you going to that ZBA meeting on Dakota Properties next week?
Next week, I'm in New Hampshire.
Is it next week, or whenever the heck is it the
I
next?
thought it was after. When you talk about the ZBA for,
Dakota,
yes, Woodland Cove.
yeah.
I don't know if you got a copy. I got a copy from the planner, the final presentation, and what it says is all, for the conditions, all, the letter from the sewer department, all conditions have to be met. So that's the town's official stance.
Okay, because this is the report you sent us.
So that's all the conditions. The letter says must be
The
met.
other, what I was.
Jimmy, will you go to the zoning meeting if Guy can't?
If it's next week, I'm not until, if it's the week after, I'll, no problem.
I'm gonna be in Maine. I won't be here next week. As it stands right now.
I'll be here next week, but, yeah, the week after I won't be.
I'm not so sure when the meeting is. I really don't.
I think it's
But
next
let me
week, but I could be wrong.
Let me look at, I wonder if it's in the letter that he sent me.
Well, zoning meets the second and fourth Wednesdays, because they meet the same night CPC meets.
Second and fourth, so we are in the first
We're
week,
in the
right?
first, so that'll be the next week.
It means
So
next
that's
week,
next
if it's
Wednesday.
second, it's next.
Wednesday,
I can't make that, I will not be
I
here.
think it's the 8th.
Yeah, 8th will be Wednesday.
I can make it, but what am I going to do?
Well, I was just, the only reason I was saying that, I was hoping he's gonna be there, because what I read was, Nasdaq wants to finalize everything with them at this meeting. Now, as long as they've agreed to all of the proposals or the requirements that we have, then it's fine, but, you know, and as long as,
This is what we're asking them to do?
let's
Now,
see.
where did the ZBA meet? Right here? Okay. What time?
I'm thinking 6:30, but I'm...
Okay,
Done?
unless you have something else,
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
we did that already.
Oh, did we do
Oh,
the
wait a
minutes?
minute, no, we got
Oh,
one, no,
excuse me.
no, I'm
Did
sorry.
we do the minutes?
Yes, we did.
The only other thing is that I'd like to establish a policy
Oh,
Forgot about that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, before you close, I got something, I want to address something on the new business.
Okay, but let me just finish this one here
Yeah, no,
first.
yeah, absolutely, when you finish, thank you.
Sorry, I took all
It's
these.
all right.
I'm sorry.
That's what it all went to. No wonder. You know, at the present time, we don't approve the vendors from an RFP, and I would like to, clean that up, you know, so that it's a little more transparent in what's going on, to address your concern earlier. And on bids, I'd like the policy to read, all bids, RFPs, for contracted services will be reviewed upon submission and selected by the Board of Sewer Commissioners / Superintendent prior to forwarding to the town administrator for approval.
Isn't that what we're doing now? No. Actually, they go straight to the attorney, he approves them, then it comes back to us, then we write it up and we send it to you folks. So
No,
what are
it
you trying to
goes-
change?
It goes to Derek, and he approves it because...
Derek's the last one in the link. Derek's the last one to see it. Absolute last one. A lot happened before Derek. Derek's the very last one. Derek sees nothing until it's finalized. So we do an RFP. We take the lowest bidder because that's the law. And then that goes to the attorney. Attorney tells us what to do with it, it comes back to us, and it comes to you folks.
Okay,
You guys
prior to-
approve it?
Okay, I'd like to interject in there that when the RFPs come in, that they come here, before they even go to the attorney, so that we know which ones are going, or which one is going to the attorney.
They're
beforehand.
pretty straightforward, because RFPs are by law, we gotta take the lowest bidder. So we have no decision on that. It's the
But we
lowest
do have the
bidder.
decision on not accepting any of them.
Yeah, you can say I don't want anything.
That's why we would like to have that here before it goes further.
I think, yeah, that's fine, because we discuss it before we even go out. We just don't arbitrarily. We discuss the things that we need, and we put them out to bid. That's not arbitrarily,
I never said it was arbitrarily.
okay? I just want to be
Said
clear.
I'd like to see
It's
all three.
it's not arbitrarily, and so,
However many come in,
because it starts here.
and make the approval before it goes forward.
I'm just trying to figure out
or
what
it
you're
gets
trying to approve,
awarded.
that's all. I don't understand what you're trying to approve.
Well, I'm trying to, so that we approve whoever it is we're doing a contract with prior to it being awarded.
Okay, so let me show, so I think I hear what you're saying. You're saying that we agree to go out to RFQ, it goes out to RFQ, this RFP, invitation for bid,
Yeah,
whatever.
any one of those.
It comes back,
Right.
and by law, we make a selection, but the law dictates, we don't. So that selection you want to see and say, okay, the project's not worth doing, project's worth doing, I think that's where you're going with it.
Exactly.
And every time we do a project, remember, it's a high priority, we don't do them arbitrarily, that's all I'm saying. So when you shoot them down, be careful, because it may have bigger costs in the back end. I don't think you understand that anyways, but that's what it is. Because what I'm saying is, it is transparent, you guys see everything, because it all starts here. We don't even do an RFP until we've agreed to go out. It all starts here. So I don't know how much more transparent that can be.
RFP is just going out. We don't know what the end result is until after the fact.
So, okay, that's easy, because we send to Mr. Bowen the person that won the bid and those that haven't. So when we send to Mr. Bowen, we'll send them to you, so you both have them. Because his work is the hardest, because it's got to be legal, it's going to meet all the legal requirements. And so to have you approve or not approve, and you say yes, and it goes to him, he says you can't do it, it's a lot of paperwork. So if you do it simultaneously, because it comes out of him, he says, this is good, but all this has to change, we can do that, and then you can approve the changes, but I think it's a parallel march. So we do both at the same time, parallelly. So you'll get what whoever the bidders are, because we have no choice in that, the law says who we got to pick. We'll send you that, and you can say, yeah, this line, you can say, I don't like that company, we can't use them. We'll go back out. If that's the intent, that's fine, I don't have a problem with
I
it.
think that's...
Because it takes the responsibility
that's the basic intent.
off of me. If there's a failure, I'd rather be on you than me, so I have no problem with that.
Okay.
Because the public will come after me, and I'd rather them come after you, and
so
that's
what you're
fair.
asking,
So when the bids come back in, with your recommendation, we'll get to see them before it's awarded.
There's no recommendation. They're self-serve. When a bid comes in, the lowest bidder gets it. It's that simple.
There's always a recommendation.
This is the lowest bidder. The other one's kind of in play. There's only one bidder that we take. These
But-
can't play.
If you read the bid results, you know who has the lower bid. So you
Absolutely.
can say, this company, XYZ, won the lower bid, so we
Absolutely.
don't have to read each one of the bid results.
That's what we're doing now. Jim wants to see them all.
That
That's what
is
he's
what
saying. We
we're
just- we
asking
do now.
for. So when you send it to Mr. Bowen, you send us a copy, correct?
Exactly.
Who else bid this contract that we just awarded to A&W?
Which one?
A and
The
W.
one that we just awarded to A&W tonight?
Green Mountain out of New Hampshire. They do a lot of work in Taunton.
Okay, but more than one person.
Absolutely, three, I gotta do three by law, I gotta do a minimum of three. The law says, anything I do less than 50,000, three quotes, and they gotta be in writing. So I sent to each individual the exact same quote, so everybody's bidding on the same apple.
Plus you didn't have three quotes on the sludge disposal.
That's an RFQ, so, wait a minute, no, I'm talking about, quotes. He's talking about this item. So again,
I understand.
let's say
I
we sent
understand.
out three and only one answered, that's it. Let's say, then we could say, okay, because that's what it's about. We put out a request for engineering, we put it out on air. It goes to the state advertises it, whoever we get in, we get in. That's out of our hands. Same thing with the bid. We put that bid out nationally. Only one bid. I can't control the nation. All right, that bid went out nationally because it goes to the state puts it out nationally. We have to go on combine, that's the law. And it goes out nationally. I can't control it once it goes out to bid. When it comes by, I take the bidders that come in, it's okay. Now, if we have it like sludge is critical, you only get one bid, I can't say no because then I don't move my sludge. So there are parameters that if you guys said, I don't want it, then I say, fine, that means that the plant's out of whack, I don't get rid of sludge, we're polluting the river, and those are things that happen, and I personally can't let that happen. And that's all I'm saying,
Well,
so,
going back to the recommendation, there's a recommendation that would be coming in on that basis.
no, there's only one bid, they won it because it's the
That
only
would be the
bid.
recommendation that would be coming in on that basis.
Of what, one bidder?
Yeah, it's because we only got one bid, we have to get rid of it, and the criticality requires it. So that's a recommendation.
But I say that at the...
Obviously,
okay,
that's a recommendation,
I understand.
regardless.
All
Whether
I'm
it's
saying
one
is
bid
that-
or 50 bids, it's a recommendation.
That's right. If 50 people bid, we take the lowest bidder, we're done.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. So the recommendation would be the lowest bidder. But that's the state law. I have no control of that.
But the recommendation also come in that you don't like the particular one that is the lowest bid, and perhaps we should relook at what we're
RFP.
bidding, our RFP, and rebid it.
We could do that.
That's a
I
recommend-
get that, but okay,
That's a
that's fine.
recommendation. All I'm saying is that you said there's no recommendation. There is recommendation. There's a recommendation on every single one of those things that comes through. And that would be coming from you on whether or not, you like the
So if I don't like the
bid is
company,
good.
you're saying, if I don't like the company, I can say,
We
Okay.
probably should reconsider this one.
if the companies that we go out to bid for, if they're that bad, because remember, it's on the COMBUS, and the COMBUS, they have to meet DCAM certification, it's all approved. If they're not, then we can say whatever we're looking for. I don't see that'd be a problem, but it's all vetted out. But if we don't like the company for whatever reason, then you can say, yeah, I don't like you, you don't have to. And we have to be careful, but yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I don't make arbitrary decisions. Like I said, when the lower bid comes in, I go with the lowest bidder, because the people bidding are qualified. If they weren't qualified, we wouldn't accept their bid, or they probably wouldn't bid because they're on the list, because they have to buy into the combine too. It's a state program. So I don't know. And the state's trying to make it more transparent because they're getting more and more. Matter of fact, the day's going to come that the state's going to have a complete list like they have now. For engineers, I can go on that list. They got 15 or 20 engineers on that list. I can just go to the list and pick one because they've already done the vetting. And that's going to be the best way to go because it eliminates RFQ. You just call them up. I need engineers. It's in your list of engineers. You pick one, or you can pick three and say, I want the best quote from the three because they're approved. So that's all doable. It's getting better and better and easier.
So bottom line, when you send the bid results to Mr. Bowen to look at, you'll also send it to us.
Correct. And so it'll be the same thing. Absolutely.
That'll change. To the... Okay, well,
That's fine. I'll send it to you and to Mr. Bowen, and you guys can vet it together. So you'll have all the
All right.
bids, and you can vet through them. I'll email them to everybody. That's easy.
back to Dakota Properties, or this bid. With the information that has been forwarded to them, It has got the 596 EDU rate in it. The EDU rate now is 615. Do you have to do something different to
Does it
that?
say EDU rate, or does it say present,
It says EDU rate.
period? I thought we had said, I probably did, but I thought we were gonna say that, or whatever the EDU rate is, because we talked about maybe going up.
It said 1 EDU per apartment, 1 EDU per building. EDU rate is 596 per year per EDU.
Presently.
Doesn't say presently, just says,
So that's what, at the
I
time, that's what it
understand what
was.
the intention is.
So I'll
but-
tell, yeah, so what I'll do is we'll email, I'll do it right this second. I'll email Ken and change, put present EDU, we'll change it, I'll tell him what the present is, but,
Okay.
yeah, so it's 615?
It's on, yeah.
620,
Six-
what is it,
Six-
621?
I'm sorry. Yeah, 621.
621.
Yes,
21.
621.
so we'll do that right now, so I don't forget.
Wait a minute, where'd you get 621?
That was the
5%?
5%.
I got a little higher, I think what the reporter was saying is that when you do the math, I could, we got different numbers. I did it by my calculator, because I can't,
No, the guy, I think we made it, I
Wait a minute,
think we got a,
5% is an increase of $29.
let me double check that.
that's right, and then add that to the 596, and it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I got confused when we started throwing that other $5 aside for,
So what's the real number?
Six and a
It
quarter.
should be actually $30, 29.8.
Yes, so it should be 30.
30.
You're right,
right.
$30.
do 30.
So we need to change our motions.
Can you modify it? Or just change it entirely? What do you think? You tell
Oh, no,
me.
we did that in percentage, Sandy, we're okay there, aren't we?
No, I thought we
we did it
talked
in
about a
dollars.
dollar amount.
We did it in dollar amounts.
So is it gonna be 626 or 625? 626? 626. Is that what it is? 626. I'm gonna email Ken 626. Is that fair?
Yep. Six. Wait a minute.
So we're looking at an increase of $30
Mm-hmm.
to a cost of 626 EDU,
Yes.
effective immediately.
Okay.
I think we have to change our motions.
I think you have to,
You know better than I, I would,
Yep.
you know better than I.
You're right.
yeah, I think you have to get rid of the first motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
I withdraw my second.
Well, I withdraw my,
Well-
I'll-
Peter did the motion.
oh, Peter, you did it.
The
Well, how
motion-
about if we just,
Now we've withdrawn the second, withdraw the motion, now create a new motion.
Right.
Correct.
okay, so I made the motion, I should be the one to,
Either doesn't make any difference, as long as you withdraw your as long as you withdraw your motion.
I withdraw my motion and make a new motion
Okay,
that we increase the rates by 5%, with 2% dedicated to the infrastructure, which will bring the new rates to 625.
626.
626.
26.
Well, 26?
Yeah.
Okay.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. New motion.
I make a
carries
motion to adjourn?
5-0.
One thing, I wanted to get that in before. Tremont Nail has a pump station. The town's looking to market that, whatever they want to do with it. I want to be clear to the town that whatever they do, they own that pump station, we do not. The Tremont Nail Pump Station,
Is there a pump station over there?
absolutely.
So there's 2 pump stations down there.
The sod bought one, we own the other. The town owns it. We maintain it,
Right.
and we fix it, but the town owns it. So whatever the town decides to do, I want it to be clear that it's theirs. And so we will bill them, they can maintain it, the whole
Where is
nine
it?
yards.
And who goes into it?
I'm sorry?
And who,
So what it goes into it is Tremont Nail, behind that big metal building, that goes into it. Then the White House in front goes into it.
Where's it located?
So if you look, You drive in and take the second driveway. The first one's on the, I would suggest the west side of the building, or the white building we're talking
So
about.
going down to the boat ramp,
Yes.
the
So
canoe
if you
boat
come down
ramp.
the boat ramp, straight ahead, you will see a square metal cover in the ground. That's the pump station.
Okay.
By the little
And then
shed
it
that's falling
discharges
down.
there. The 2-inch line runs all the way up along parallel to Elm Street, under the railroad tracks, and dumps into the, right behind the historic building. There's a manhole, that's where it dumps.
Now, what comes into that pump station?
The metal building where they store everything, and they wash things, they're a little concerned about that. The building themselves, which they don't use, the Tremont Nail, the white building,
But there are bathrooms there.
I'm sorry?
There's bathrooms.
Absolutely, in all of them.
So those bathrooms, even though they're not used, flow
Yeah.
into this
Absolutely.
pump station.
Those buildings, every bit of drop of water comes out of those buildings, goes up pump
But
station.
nothing on the other side of Elm Street?
The other side is owned by Assad. We own nothing on the other
Oh,
side.
none of that goes into that pump
Not
station?
at all.
Okay,
Two separate units.
that's what I wanted to hear. All right.
Yeah, two separate units.
Ah, the use of the metal building
Metal building, they're using it.
for storage right now and cleaning, for storage,
Okay.
for storage. I haven't seen anything else but storage.
Oh, yeah, it's stored in there. I've
Okay.
been in there a few times, and they get to clean what they're doing in there, but
So
that's not the storage.
because that pump station is owned by the town,
It is owned by the town.
the wastewater facility will bill the town for what?
Here's my thing. They're talking about selling it, they're talking many, many things. Like when we bought the property, no one talked about pump stations. It became a nightmare to us. I needed to address up front. That pump station is owned by the town, so when they lease it, sell it, it needs to be included that it's their pump station to be maintained, not ours. We'll help them, we'll do all we can, we do that, that's what we do. It's the same town, we go on above and beyond. But the ownership has to be clear, and we never lose sight, because we did that with the sods, we maintained it for 11 years. I don't want to do that again.
How does the town transfer ownership of the pump station to our sewer facility? How does it transfer?
I don't want it, personally.
We don't
I don't want it.
No.
I've got enough.
What do you build the town, what is?
EDUs, and we build them EDUs for buildings and everything. They pay
So
EDUs.
how many EDUs does the town pay?
Right now, they're
Not
paying
enough.
one. They were
One.
paying many,
Not
but
enough.
one right now, because they say it's not used, I charge them just
Wait,
one EDU.
So one EDU right
today.
now.
For right now, they pay one E EDU.
They should be paying EDUs as applicable to usage down there, plus maintenance fee on anything that
Yeah,
we
'cause
have
it's
to do in
theirs.
addition
Well, you
to-
said the maintenance fee, it's not ours to maintain, they have to maintain it.
Yes, so we
And
can
if they
either
call
do
us
it and bill them, or
because
they
they're
can call
stuck.
somebody else.
Okay,
but-
so,
And we've been doing it for free. We do that. I mean, I'm not complaining about servicing it, I just want to be clear that we don't own it. We don't own the police station. That was a nightmare. So I said, it's yours. I'll help you, I'll do quarterly checks, but you own it. We don't own Minor Forest, but we do everything for Minor Forest. It's owned by the school. We maintain it, we fix it, we rehab it. We've been doing these things, and they're not ours. And the big thing with the sods is because it was private, we were maintaining that for years. And we call it the private guy, so that's why I went after him, because it was private company.
Did he send us a thank you card?
Thank you note? Oh, yeah, I can tell you about the thank you notes we received. So I just want to be clear on record that that's the town's pump station. So if they sell it, it needs to be transferred to the new owner, that's your pump station. I don't want a nightmare like we did through the Assads coming down the road. I don't want that problem.
so it's not affected by any contamination that they found in the soil at Tremont Nail? It's all self-contained?
There's major groundwater coming into it, there's problems with it.
So, okay,
Yes, we
so
could be
there is
affected.
I&I,
Oh, yes, there is. It's theirs. They need to fix it.
and I don't remember that being covered at all
Of course not.
in the plan.
Of course
Just to
not.
be straight, I just want everybody to be on the same
Didn't
page.
do the due
It is
diligence
not
in the
our
very
pump
beginning.
station. And it's got I&I, it's got issues we've been working with, we've been cementing and trying, but it's major. It's got a dip, there's some issues. It pours in there.
And
Pours
so
in
it comes
there.
off the groundwater, which is contaminated.
So if it's in disrepair, it'll hold up a closing,
Could. We need to address it. The town needs to address it. Whatever the town, they need to
because
address it.
it would have to be deeded as in good working order, correct?
Or you could deed it as not working and take off the price you can fix it. I believe there's options, but nonetheless,
Yeah, then they, yeah, right.
you could
Could do
lose.
it that way. They
but I
roll
would...
they roll the dice.
That's right, it'd probably be easy to fix it. I just want to be
And to
clear.
fix it, it would have to be the town.
Yeah, I think that...
I wonder if they'll submit a CPA grant for that one.
They could, or they could, I mean, we'd do it, but I didn't, you guys know on what we're gonna bill them, I don't have a problem with it.
Now, before you close, can I have the vote on the minutes, please, so I can record it?
410.
No.
On the
Oh, I'm sorry, the minutes themselves,
It
2-0.
was only two.
2-0.
2-2.
202.
Two?
Yeah.
No, it was 201 at the
Yeah,
time. 2-3, what was it? You guys are the only ones that could vote,
Yeah,
they're the only ones that were
2-0.
there.
Yeah.
They couldn't
202.
vote, so there's no...
202.
Yep.
And
Right,
who did
202.
the motion?
I did.
And Jimmy seconded? Okay, thank you. Now you can do it.
Donna?
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Not till we know when our next meeting is.
On the 16th of August, at 6:30 PM.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Finally.